Every once in a while, you find one of those coding tricks and it absolutely melts your brain once you see it. I just had one of those moments. I learned that you can make images color theme aware. So you can have a light theme and dark theme image. Now, I know that I could just make a light theme and a dark theme image, but that's not the part that's cool. The part that's cool is that I can put it on the page and have only the appropriate color themed image download with no additional JavaScript. We're gonna do it today using Astro, Cloudinary, and Unpick. So the first thing we're gonna do is make sure that we've got the starter code. So we're using a repo at learnwithjason/Cloudinary site images is the name of the repo. I am on the start branch, and you can see here that I have cloned this down. I'm on the start branch, and I have the O3 image overlays.astro file open, and there's not a lot going on in here. So let's change that. First and foremost, we're gonna make sure that we've got the right credentials so that we can do URL generation on Cloudinary. So inside your .env, you're gonna need a Cloudinary cloud name and make sure that's set to your cloud name. You're not gonna need an API key or a secret in this one. If you've been following along with the series, you'll already have this set, but don't worry about it. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check the link in the description to find the rest of the videos in this series. So to make this work, what we're gonna do is bring in the image and source components out of Unpick. We'll talk a little bit more about what those are doing in a minute. Then we're gonna grab the Cloudinary library, import v2 as Cloudinary. Next up, we want to configure Cloudinary with our cloud name. That's gonna allow us to generate URLs. Next, we've got an image uploaded. If you've been following along the tutorial, you know where I got this, but I've uploaded something to my Cloudinary asset management library, and I've grabbed its public ID and some alt text for it. Next, we're gonna create this function called getImageWithOverlay. Now, I've added a light and dark flag for this. This is just so that I don't have to duplicate my code. You don't need to write it this way. You can also just copy paste the cloudinary.url call. There are no rules. You can do whatever you want. But the way this works is that we're calling this to generate a URL that uses either light or dark mode. We've got cloudinary.url. We're gonna pass in that public ID that we set up here. And then we're gonna run a transformation. So we set the quality auto and the format auto. Those are just some little freebie performance boosts that we get. Then we're gonna set our aspect ratio to 1, so that's a square image. We're gonna give it a width of 600, auto crop, auto gravity, so that we get sort of the ideal whatever focus thing Cloudinary sees when it crops it to square. And then we're gonna get into overlays. And the way overlays work is that I can take another image from my Cloudinary library and overlay it on top of an existing image, whatever the image is that I have my public ID for. I've uploaded 2 frames. I've got my image frame light, my image frame dark. Now these are my light mode and dark mode aware image frames that I want to overlay the image with. And so I'm using this mode flag for light or dark to grab whatever the right overlay is. And then we use the layer apply to put that overlay on top of the image and compress it all down into one final asset that gets delivered via URL. Once we've got that, we're going to generate a light mode and a dark mode of our image. So we've got our 2 different images. And then we need to actually put that on the screen. We use the web standard picture element here, and then we insert a source for the light mode and the dark mode. And then finally a fallback image if we do have an older browser that doesn't support the picture tag that falls back to the light mode. It has our alt text. We also, you might notice, can't put alt text into a source. So this allows the browser to pick up our alt text from the fallback image so that we still have accessible images. Now the source, we're passing in our light mode and our dark mode, and then we have these media attributes where we can say, in light mode, this is the source that's preferred. In dark mode, this is the source that's preferred. This is where the magic happens because the browser is only going to download the source that matches the current user's theme. That means we're not wasting bytes. We're not downloading 2 versions of this image onto the user's browser and then deciding somehow which one they're gonna see. We are letting the browser tell us which one it wants and only delivering the correct one. This is a wonderful, mind-blowing, I can't believe this works solution. So now that we've got this in place, let's actually go see how it works. So I'm gonna start up my dev server, and then I'm going to open up my browser here. So we can see here that this is running, we've got the light theme showing up, and if we look in here, we can see that we've got our different sources. And again, these are plain old sources. And then down here, we've got our fallback. So let's see what happens then if we emulate dark mode. So I'm just going to come in here and say prefers color scheme dark. And look at that. It just flips over seamlessly to our dark theme image. Just like that. This is magic. I can't believe I haven't been doing this forever. And I don't know that I will ever not do this moving into the future. If you've been following along with this series, we're at the halfway point. Up next, we're going to dig into user uploads. We're going to see how user-generated content impacts sites, how we can manage those uploads, how we can do moderation, and whether or not we can use AI to improve that user-generated content flow a little bit in safe ways. See you in the next one.